Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Om Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnururukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanma Vavatu Tad Vaktaram Avatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are at a verse where I was trying to say one thing, that whatever we have done in the past verses, we have to try to connect these verses to it. In the beginning, not beginning, but few verses before, the students had a doubt. ये ब्राह्मण है भी कि नहीं है? You know? So उन्होंने प्रश्न पूछा था, ऐसा डायरेक्ट प्रश्न नहीं पूछा था, but the teacher understood कि इनको डाउट है, right? And then we saw that the teacher did not answer हाँ है, जाओ घर पे अभी है ब्राह्मण, ऐसा नहीं बोला. उनको पूरा बताया कि कैसे ये दुनिया आई है, ये है वो है. All that with two reasons that was told this way. One is that फिर doubt पूरा खत्म होगा. When you see the whole spectrum of how it happens, then कोई doubt नहीं रहेगा. And then secondly, in that process, even we learned that how did this world came about and things like that, right? So this verse is a very interesting one, and I think Urmil ji had brought this point that if we are not going to be fearful, we might do bad things, right? And when I was reading the commentary and this one and the next one, you are absolutely right. That is, so this is what happens. So when I analyze the whole thing and see if this sits with you. So until you become the lawmaker yourself, you will always have the fear, and which is a good thing. अगर fear नहीं होगा तो हम लोग human nature है कि सब गलत काम करना शुरू कर देंगे. अभी देखो, अगर यहाँ पर सभी speed करते हैं, right? San Diego में. I don't know if you guys feel that way. Suddenly some car will come from behind, and people who have come from other states, like if I come from Texas, वहाँ पर इतनी पुलिस जगह कोई नहीं स्पीड करता है, बिकॉज इतनी टिकट मिलेगी, सब गड़बड़ हो जाएगा, तुम्हारा इंश्योरेंस बढ़ जाएगा. 3-4 पुलिस तो रहती है, तो सभी जैसे ही पुलिस दिखती है ना, बूम ब्रेक लगा के आ जाते. एवरीबडी स्केयर्ड. So law, unless you become the lawmaker, you are going to be scared, and that's what they are trying to tell you. That when the oneness happens, और जो एक हो जाएगा ना, वो कभी गलत काम कर ही नहीं सकता. Because the lawmaker, the reason he makes that law, because he thinks this is the right thing to do. So he naturally follows it. But only the people who are like not the lawmaker need that fear, so that you were right on when you said that. So keeping that in mind, we read this commentary that Bhagwan is saying that fearless तभी बनेगा जब वो एक हो जाएगा, और जरा सा भी separation होएगा तो वो fear होता ही है. And the next verse is even most amazing, which says even the phenomenal forces like wind and rain and all these things, वो भी भगवान के डर से बराबर काम करते हैं. Means Lord टूटता नहीं है. And there is a joke. I don't know if you heard this joke. It's a drishtant actually, and that will explain everything. There was one guy who went in the office, and he asked the secretary कि मेरे को बॉस से मिलना है. तो सेक्रेटरी ने ना बोला वो बॉस नहीं है. तो ये आदमी गया नहीं, वहीं बैठा रहा. तो बोला मैं वो बॉस का इंतजार करूँ, सुना है ना, बॉस का इंतजार करूँगा यहीं पर बैठ के. तो वो कि पता नहीं कब आएगा वगैरह वगैरह. थोड़ी देर के बाद सेक्रेटरी ने पूछा that why are you sitting? So he said, I know the boss is inside. So he said, how do you know? He said, तुम सब लोग काम कर रहे हो. कोई भी गड़बड़ नहीं कर रहा है, फोन पे बात नहीं कर रहा है, नींद नहीं ले रहा है, सब एकदम इतना सिंसियरली बैठ के कर रहे हो. बॉस बैठा हुआ है अंदर. नहीं होता तो सब अभी मस्ती कर रहे होते. That's why I know so that's what it is, that if there is a lawmaker, we all are scared and we want to follow. It's like I know that if I put my finger in the electric socket, I'm going to get shocked. That law is going to work there. So that's why I don't do that. So that's what if you keep that in concept in mind, you will see.
I was just thinking that all these hurricanes and storms, I mean, do you think we are getting closer to when they say कि वो प्रलय होती है? Do you think we are getting closer to that? I mean,
no, not necessarily. Okay, according to this, our Vedic calendar of the cosmos, we are right in the middle of Brahmaji's day, because I don't know whether you remember or you were there or not when we did. So for Brahmaji is about 50 years old and we are going to be. So अभी प्रलय वलय कुछ नहीं आ रही है. But ये जो hurricane और ये सब है ना, it's a थोड़ा karmic cycle भी है वो भी. And then sometimes we may think that it is such a bad thing, but for some kind of cleansing, it is necessary. Sometimes you see that some pictures of that, okay, lava has come out from there and फिर एक beautiful island बन जाता है वहाँ पे. Right? Later on, people are enjoying like that, Hawaii and all that. Why? It's so beautiful because coming out of lava, there was nothing there before, this, that. So sometimes, change looks painful, but it is necessary. It's like when we get sick and we have to do some operation or take some bitter antibiotic. यहाँ वाली तो वो लोग गोली वोली बना के हम लोग इंडिया में कैसे वो एक सिरप देता था इतना गंदा होता था ना वो सिरप उसके अंदर वो इतना लो. There used to be that paper. I don't know if you guys remember. When I was a little girl, I remember that the compounder used to give that. And it used to be so bad in taste. But it made you feel better. So I think there are several ways of looking at it. And secondly, a lot of these natural disasters are caused by us also. Sometimes these fires and all that happens in California. Some idiot started it. Doing something stupid, and then it caused a fire. So many different ways you can look at it. But overall, I think the cycle we have to accept that cycle, that it's going to be creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Just like with ourselves, we are born, we are there for a while, then we're going to die.
Right.
So it's the same thing. Okay, shall we go into this now? Okay, Urmilji, would you like to read? It's up to you.
So I'll start with, when this seeker attains the fearless oneness with Brahman, who is invisible, incorporeal, inexplicable, and unsupported, then he becomes free from fear. When, however, he makes even the slightest distinction in Brahman, then there is danger for him. That very same Brahman himself becomes the source of fear for him who makes a difference and who reflects not. To the same effect, there is the following Vedika verse.
So I just want to say, one second, yeah. I just want to say that here they have tried to explain, it's called indicative definitions, because you cannot describe, Brahman is so vast, you cannot describe in one or two words, even though they have, here they have said, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Remember we saw that, or Sat Chit Anand, or Satyam Shivam Sundaram. They try to make it short, but there are so many, and this invisible, incorporeal, inexplicable, unsupported. These are just meditative things to do for Brahman, to try to understand who Brahman is, just to give you an idea. Yeah, go ahead.
The spiritual center which presides over the body assemblage is in every living being has been explained as full of ras. This blissful center is not realized now by us because of its identifications with the assemblage constituted of the body, mind, and other sheaths. The Atman, when seemingly conditioned by these delusory matter envelopments is called the ego center. This process of self-discovery is the ego's rediscovery that it is the pure self without any of its delusory identification with its matter vestures. On this recognition, the self in us realizes its oneness with the self of the universe.
So here Swamiji is, because to understand, all these definitions and that pure Brahman, he was just talking about that, hey, these Upanishads try to describe it in all different ways, because nobody can show us. On one, it's saying an inexplicable. That means you cannot explain it. Imagine, they're still trying to explain you. So it's saying that it's that this particular Upanishad is a very significant one, because this is the one which introduced these 5 sheets that everybody talks about. And I was thinking about it, something like कोई एक एक्टर है, हाँ, और उसको साउथ में कोई एक डांस होता है जिसमें वो इतना बड़ा मुखौटा पहन लेते हैं, इतना बड़ा ड्रेस, देखा है ना, वो ऐसे करके कुछ डांस करते हैं, उसके अंदर कौन सा इंसान बैठा दिखाई नहीं देता है। इतना उसके ऊपर लेयर्स और लेयर्स बना के, ज्वेलरी और फेस और मेकअप and all that, you don't know who that person is. And once you start taking that, oh, this is that person. Same way this Atman, उसके ऊपर कितने सारे layers, विज्ञानमय, कोशा, मनोमय, ये वो कहते, बेचारा आत्मा तो छुपी के अंदर, दिखाई नहीं दे रहा हमको. So these guys are telling, hey, slowly peel all this off and you will reach there. Something like that.
What does vestures mean? What does that mean?
I think vesture is a covering.
Covering.
Yeah.
In a cup of water, the reflected sun entirely depends upon the condition of the water in the cup. When the water is disturbed, the reflected sun gets shattered. When the water is muddy, the reflected sun becomes muddy. The sun in the sky, conditioned by the water in the cup, stands for the Atman, conditioned by the matter sheets. This reflected consciousness is called ego center. When the cup is broken or the water thrown away, in short, when the reflecting surface is destroyed, the reflection also ends and the real sun in the sky comes to be realized as the truth behind the reflection.
So we have seen this example many times. Yeah, that we are all actually nothing but reflection of the same Brahman, but because of our mind, and the Brahman is shines through our mind, and the mind has all the dirt in it, so then the reflection is not very pure. And even in that other example, like if वो इंडिया में हम लोग जाते थे सर्कस वगैरह में, तो एक रूम होता था, mirror होते थे different, when you see yourself as tall and short and fat, and we used to laugh because it's reflecting surface can distort it. The same way that our reflecting mind, if it's not pure, it can distort the Brahman, and then that's what our personalities are. That's what they're just trying to explain us, the purity of the Brahman and how the reflecting surface can make a mess of it. That's what happens in our life too.
Right. Thank you. In fact, it is the sun in the sky that illumines the reflection, the water in the cup, and the cup itself. Similarly, the ego center and the matter envelopments are all being illumined by the one pure consciousness. But this is not realized so long as we are preoccupied with the various vicissitudes and destinies of the ego center. When once the seeker detaches himself from all the sheets and thus ends the reflecting medium, thereafter the pure consciousness, the Atman, rediscovers itself to be nothing other than the self in all names and forms, constituting the entire universe.
Okay. And I have one other line over here. I don't know, maybe in your book it's not. The Atman, which thus rediscovered itself, immediately understand its oneness with the Brahman.
Yes.
So they are telling you why we don't realize that Brahman, because we are preoccupied with our ego-centered life. That's why they say जितना दुनिया में हम लोग ध्यान लगाएंगे ना, उतना उसमें फंसते जाएंगे. It's like that World Wide Web. You start searching something and you can be sitting there for 2 hours because from one place to another, it keep taking you. So that's why जैसे जाल बुना हुआ है, उसी में जैसे मकड़ी फंस जाती है अपने जाल में, वैसे ही कुछ, So, and then say rediscovering. So it's not like we have to die to know who we are. We can, जीवन मुक्त also we can do. We can do a विचार से भी हम लोग उसको हटा सकते हैं. Something like that. That it's like I am in the dream and while in the dream I realize that I am actually dreaming. That's what they are trying to do for us. So I hope you understand what they are trying to do. That why we don't recognize it and what is a method of recognizing. This is one of the method that, hey, I am that pure Atma, but because of the different sheets, I don't see it.
So I guess they're equating Atman is Brahman.
Atman is 100% Brahman.
Brahman, that's what they're
It is reflecting through the term Atman means when it reflects through an individual, it's called Atman.
Yeah.
लेकिन उसका source तो वही है ना.
The Atman, when it is reflected, then it becomes ego.
Yes, you can say that if you want to go a little more technical. Yes.
With the sheets, Atman is the self. With the sheets becomes the ego.
True. If you want total technicality, that's true, because the ego is nothing but it's forgotten itself. Ego is like I am separate. Ego तो यही है ना कि मैं अपना एक separate identity बनाऊँ, I am the best, I am this, or whichever way, bad or good. एक अलग बंडल बना के बैठ गए हम लोग अपना. It's like the reflection, okay? Reflection को बहुत अभिमान हो गया कि भाई मैं तो इतना ग्रेट हूँ, और है तो रिफ्लेक्शन ना, एक सेकंड में वो रिफ्लेक्शन गया, मर्ज हो जाएगा उसमें.
Right, and that's what it is. It's the mind when it it's like breaking the mind or getting away from the mind, and that ego. I mean that Atman is, it becomes clear to you.
Yes, and the other significant thing in this paragraph is what they pointed out, that the water in the cup itself.
Yes.
And that if everything is because of the sun. Yes.
Yeah. And the sun is what? That is Brahman.
Exactly.
I mean, and Brahman, and the cup is made of the 5 elements.
Which have come from the Brahman. Yes. So
therefore, everything is Brahman.
Exactly. So then it's the same way that, our body, our sheets, our everything is that Brahman, but it just looks separate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So now the definitions are given. Yeah. Go ahead.
Invisible. Here Brahman is described as invisible, meaning it is not cognizable through the known avenues of perception, namely the sense organs. Not only that it cannot be seen, it is equally true that Brahman cannot be heard, tasted, smelt, or touched. Sense organs can function only in the world of objects, and they can perceive only their respective sense objects, which are other than themselves. Atman, being the subject, is not perceivable. What is visible is a modification of a phenomenon, vikara. Brahman is not a phenomenon, and therefore it is invisible, incorporeal. That which is a vikara or a modification alone can take a gross form. Brahman is described here as formless because it is not a modification.
So we have gone through this many times. So Swamiji is again trying to explain, and it's one of those things that you just keep at it, and one day our intellect will accept this. But itna to malum hai ki hamare sense organs, we cannot grasp Brahman with that. And there are sense organs, तो immediately किसी ने बोला कि अगर इसे आँख बंद कर लो तो कान से तो हम नहीं देख सकते, right? they are so limited, our sense organ within even. And किसी ने बोला कि forget about anything else, अगर आँख भी है तो my eyes have a very limited capacity of seeing something. Anything beyond something, I don't even know what it is. Like if I see a small dot, it could be on the ocean, it could be like a boat, or it could be something, a bird or something. I may not know. So it's such a limitation it is. So where are we going to grasp Brahman with that? So that doesn't work. And even intellect. That's why the people who try completely to grasp Brahman by intellect, वो लोग इतने frustrated हो जाते हैं ना, that they hit a wall so bad. So that's why it's not, and in the end you have to drop that too. To a certain point it is very useful. And then the other things, this invisible के साथ जो incorporeal मतलब उसको body नहीं है. Like we say corp is like a body. It doesn't have, because it's like our teacher used to explain, something which occupies the entire cosmos and beyond, usko body kaise ho sakti hai? That is a limited, right? Any kind of form is a limited thing. It's formless. That's why. So it's the same word, but it explained in many different words. That's how we have to look at it.
I like that what you just thought of. The lawmaker. So you really have to become God.
Yes. In fact, it's a famous statement by Osho that you cannot see God, but you can be God. I love that one. So true. Yeah.
By the earlier term that Brahman is invisible, if it has indicated directly that it is changeless, indirectly it also connotes that it is incorporeal, bodiless, and that which is bodiless is indescribable too. In short, Brahman is not subject to any modification, it being the cause for all modifications.
So it's just telling you that इन्होंने ये जो 4 words बोले ना, invisible, incorporeal, unsupported, these are all from one to the other. You can jump, because they are all related to each other. And in this, when you say कि what does this subject mean, subject means जिसकी वजह से कुछ होता है. Something like, I always give the children this example, that we can never see our own eyes because we are behind it. Something that is behind it, you can't see it. Some of the first reaction of the children, yes, auntie, we can see the eyes. I look in the mirror. No. Think about it. That's a reflection of your eye that you are seeing. Nobody can see their own eye because we are behind it. So that same way, Brahman is behind everything. So how can we see Brahman? We can only understand it.
We can say because of Brahman, the eyes can see.
Yes, true.
So because of that consciousness,
yes,
or reflected consciousness, whichever way you want to put it. So,
being so, it is unsupported or abodeless. In this subtlest all-pervasiveness, Brahman covers all and nothing covers it. Therefore, it is abodeless. For a parrot, the cage is the abode. For the cage, the house is the abode. For the house, the roof is the abode. For the roof, we may say the blue dome of the sky is the abode. For the sky, philosophically, Brahman is the abode. For Brahman, there is no abode, since there is nothing other than that, and nothing can cover.
So I have a little extra line in there. All effects and their attributes have the support of the substratum, the Brahman, but there is no support for it. The Shruti says that the Brahman is established in no support other than its own glory. So it's just saying that, that you keep going backwards, and in the end you say, what is the cause of Brahman? It's causeless. You can say the word, or it itself is the cause, whichever way you want to say, that it is the ultimate support, and that supports everything. Who does Brahman support? Brahman supports itself. Chutti. That's what it is.
An individual who thus comes to experience his oneness with the Brahman becomes free from fear. Fear can come only from something other than oneself. Nobody is afraid of himself. When a seeker successfully realizes his oneness with the entire universe, the sense of distinction ends, and thereafter he has no occasion to feel the sense of fear at anything.
So it's just telling you a fact that you always fear because you always feel like duality. That's why you fear. If there with your own self you don't. So बोलते हैं ना कि अपने घर में क्या है वो एक कहावत, कुत्ता भी शेर होता है. Because शेर आया नहीं है अभी. So if you are alone, you are great. But fear comes, and they're just telling that oneness. And that's why we were talking about the psychology that जब भी कोई अपना लगता है उसे कभी डर नहीं लगता है. So ये तो अपना अच्छा ही करेगा. Because if you feel the oneness with that person. So once you get ultimate oneness, all fear is gone. Until then, it is there.
But that I was thinking about that when I read it. The oneness, if one is realized, of course, for him there is no oneness. At that point, he still has the body. Okay, Jivan Mukta. Let's put it that way. He still has the body, and now he doesn't have any fear because he sees God in everything. An animal comes, which you know is going to attack. Is he going to fear or not?
He won't fear. If he's truly self-realized, tabhi he won't fear, because it's kind of very interesting that the universe recognizes that fearlessness. You know, forget about everything else. Tell me about this. When they tell you, suppose you're walking in the jungle, and some animal comes.
Yes.
Over there, don't they tell you that if तुम डर के भागोगे तो और भी तुम्हारे पीछे भागेगा? मैंने सुनी ये बात कि कोई कुत्ता वुत्ता आ जाए ना तो don't show the fear in your eyes. Just stand there like tall as though you are really big. वो कुत्ता फिर भाग जाएगा.
But I thought the other way, and I thought if one is realized, does he care for his body anymore?
No, he doesn't care. But on one hand, I know what you're saying. He's saying, अगर मैं मर भी गया तो क्या हो जाएगा, right? That's what he's saying. But there's another phenomena that happens, that fearlessness has so much power that even the animals recognize it and they leave them alone. That's why lot of these saints and sages, वो लोग जंगल में freely घूमते हैं. और मैंने सुना है कि कोई एक मूवी देखी थी स्वामी नारायण की, पता नहीं आप लोग ने भी देखी कि नहीं, कि उसमें वो 14 साल का बच्चा, और he was like very young and he left the home. And he was walking around and all that. And then there were two things that really touched my heart. One was that at one morning, the gaon, this is a true story, 500 years ago it happened. Okay? That he was sitting with a lion very peacefully. And सब लोग, my God, lion के साथ देखा उसको लोगों ने. And the lion was not doing anything to him. And that at other place, like he's very sweet looking, and he has an aura of this whatever the tej hai unke chehre ke upar, right? So he goes to a little well, and he asks for water, and those women, they say, अरे तुम कितने प्यारे बच्चे हो, तुम खो गए हो क्या, कहाँ पर क्यों घूम रहे हो ऐसे? तो बोला, नहीं मैं नहीं खोया हूँ, मैं तो अपने घर पे ही हूँ, तुम सब खोए हुए हो. I have to feel very happy with this sky above and मैं तो अपने भगवान की गोद में हूँ, मैं क्यों डर लग मुझे? So that fearlessness, that this thing, and there are so many people like that. They're not just one or two. All the people who go in the jungles, go in the Himalayas, हम लोग तो इतना डर जाएंगे कि वहाँ ठंडी में मर जाएंगे हम लोग, और and all that.
Maharaj, he stayed in the.
I'm sorry. Tapovan Maharaj, yes. And there was one saint who used to go to Himalayas, and then किसी ने उसको पूछा कि भाई, when you go there, how do you get food and all that? So he's saying that God provides. What do you mean by God provides? Saying that we are sitting in meditation and we have a bowl over there, some bakri will come and give the milk in there. We may not believe it, okay? The guy said it happens. Okay? So if you have that much faith in God, God will take care of you. You read autobiography of Yogi, and most of us have read it, but we forgot maybe. There was an incident where he says to his brother, I'm going to take this trip because I have faith in God and I'll not take any money with me. And the brother said, Pagal hai kya? How will you eat? Where will you sleep? He said, I will see. I have faith in God. He'll take care of me. Itna faith karke wo gaya, and how everybody took care of him. And the brother became his devotee. He said that, man, you are somebody special. So he became his devotee. So that kind of fearlessness can come with some very, very higher state. And then the universe become conducive to you. Universe takes care of you. And animals have a 6th or 7th sense, whatever you call. They will completely leave you alone.
Umaji, I understand what you're saying.
Sorry, did your frame freeze, or only for me it froze?
No, it froze. It froze. I couldn't hear her.
Yeah, I think that...
frame is frozen.
Yes. Urmilji, I don't know whether you can hear us or not, but we cannot...
You, but maybe my Wi-Fi is not...
Yeah, so sorry, can you repeat the question?
Can you hear now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the other day I was saying that, I understand what you're saying, but then should we teach our children, grandchildren, the laws? That how to take care of themselves? Like my granddaughter, I was saying that I was telling her, no, lock the door.
No.
If you're alone.
So see, let's not take this. It's something like this. This is a very famous drishtant. That is, okay, Brahman is everywhere. God will take care of me. And all वो सुना है कि वो एक बाढ़ आई थी. The very famous drishtant. And there were 2 people who said, I believe in Jesus. Jesus will save me. Jesus तो दोनों मर गए और Jesus के वहाँ पर पहुँच गए ऊपर. और Jesus से पूछा कि why didn't you save me, Jesus? तो बोला, you are so stupid. मैंने बोट भेजी थी, वो नहीं ली तूने. मैंने रेस्क्यू भेजा था. No, God will save me. वो रेस्क्यू भी मैं ही था. Okay? So God has given us intelligence. We have to use it. And then किसी ने बोला कि एक और दृष्टांत है अपने में कि भाई हाथी आ रहा था सामने से. तो बोला, I read Vedanta. God is everywhere and I have faith in God. So फिर हाथी ने जो लात मारी तो फिर वो गुरु के पास भाग के गया कि हे उससे तेरे को बुद्धि भी दी है, हाथी आ रहा है तो हट जा वहां से. So व्यवहार में we have to teach our kids to be safe and all. They're not talking. This is an adhyatmic thing they are talking about. So if we want to give up fear, I think we should first give up fear for things that bother us. ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा, those kind of fear we can give up. Fear of death we can give up. Okay, one day we all are going to die. Why do we have to? Those are the things, But व्यवहार में we have to teach our children, to use their intellect and be safe. Because intellect is also given by God. And we need to use it. So we have to use it in right context.
To convey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Everybody? Mm-hmm. Can you hear? Okay. To convey this idea that fearlessness can come only at the realization of the individual's oneness with the entire universe, the Upanishad gives here the negative statement also. The Brahman itself becomes a source of fear for him who makes even the slightest distinction in it. The moment we recognize an objective God other than ourselves, reveling in heaven, and we do not seek our oneness with him, agitations and fears come to storm our bosom. Perfect tranquility and peace comes only when we establish our unquestioned oneness with truth. Perfect happiness is only in the fulfillment of love. Love is fulfilled only when the lover and the beloved merge to become one single mass of love experience. Similarly, when the ego center in us loses all its separative consciousness and comes to experience its unbroken and definite oneness with the Atman, it comes to live the infinite sense of perfection and fearlessness in itself.
So this paragraph is just explaining to us that how the complete fearlessness can only come when oneness happens. Until then, there will be always some fear, and which is okay also. We talked about that. Yeah.
The same truth which gives fearlessness to the realized provides occasions for fear to those who do not give enough meditative thought to the discriminative analysis of the unreal and the real. The ego is Atman playing the fool amidst the unreal. To awaken itself to the real is to rediscover its divine, omnipotent nature. And in this self-discovery is the state of fearlessness. Those who do not make the necessary discriminative analysis of the real and the unreal, of the true and the false, they, in their delusory identifications, come to feel themselves different from the real, and their realization is never complete.
So it's encouraging us to use our discriminative analysis of real and unreal, basically, right? That it's because जब तक तुम वो नहीं करोगे, वो तुमको fearlessness मिलने वाला नहीं है. And I was thinking of a worldly example. It's like there is an actor who is very rich and he has to act like a beggar. And then once he becomes in the movie a beggar, then he forgets that who he is and he keeps acting like a beggar. Then he has a fear, मेरे को खाने को कहाँ से मिलेगा, मुझे पैसे कहाँ से मिलेंगे. And then his wife comes and say, hey, you are my husband, you have everything. Then he remembers. So वैसे हमारा भी हाल हो गया कि we have forgotten our true nature, and that's why we are fearful. If you have everything, why are you scared of? That's what they're trying to tell us.
The self in us, realizable as our own real nature, full of experienceable bliss, Ras, is by now brought within the intellectual comprehension of the students. If not fully, at least within their intuitive realization of the seekers. In the next section, we have a complete picture of the dynamism of the spiritual center and also a comparative statistics which gives us a certain concrete measure to divinize what is the joy experienced in the self by the realized master.
So as I was saying that all this the teacher is telling the student to make them believe that yes, to make their, firm resolve that yes, there is Brahman, number one, no doubt left. And then also the, dynamism of the spiritual center. Because the next one you will see that how these phenomenal forces work with so much precision and so much harmony, and because some people say, oh, the world is a chaos, and you do little bit of vichar, you will see that there is a lot of harmony in there, and the cycles of seasons also. Sometimes we may not understand everything, but behind that there is a complete order is there. That's what we're going to learn from the next verse. And then it's going to talk about comparative statistics, which gives certain concrete measure of what is joy. Because joy cannot be measured, right? If I say, oh, I am joyful, how can I tell somebody quantity? Make 30% joy, 40, I cannot. But this particular Upanishad is going to make an attempt to tell us the quantitative joy. कि भाई तुम जब ब्रह्मन से मिल जाओगे तो उसका कितना joy मिलेगा, वो they will try. That's what is waiting for us in this. So, any question? Any comment?
So it is saying that your Atman, you are Brahman. I mean, basically that's what they said.
Yes.
And also maybe explain more and more in the next one.
Yes.
But they are saying.
And also how this world, that it's like what is the play of Brahman also? Like we have talked about it. Yeah. If Brahman is everything, then why the world has come? Mm-hmm. So it is dynamism. It's just a little play, just a little leela, just a little fun. And all these phenomenal forces को जो उन्होंने release किया है ना भगवान ने, तो वो सब order देके किया है कि ऐसे ऐसे करना. और ये लोग सब डर के सब कर रहे हैं.
Well, the good example is a dream that we create ourselves, right? Nobody's there to create. So it's just like God is, it's his dream. We are his dream.
You can say that. Absolutely. A lot of people say that. And in हर एक dream का एक law भी होता है कि वो dream में भी वो सब चल रहा है कि नहीं? So that you can look at it that way. But like we know from the science perspective that everything is an order. Yes, that's why the science exists, right? Yes. If it was a complete haphazard, it would not exist. And even mental science is like that. You know, you cannot have all the 6 negativities in your mind and say, now I want to meditate and be happy. As long as those things are there, you're not going to be happy. So the idea is with the contemplation and all that, try to remove those negative things. Then you will be happy. So even the mental, physical law, body ka sara, sab kuch, you know, it is, there's an order in it. So, true.
And that one more thing, when he said about the love experience in the paragraph before, where love is fulfilled only when the lover and the beloved merge to become one. And I remember this shloka from Geeta, the 29th shloka, which he says, who worships me with devotion, I are in me and I too am
in them. Yes.
Right. And as soon as I read this, I remembered that. I said, well, that's what it's telling you
Yes.
in both places.
So true. So now you can see that, you know, what Krishna Bhagavan is saying is a sar of Upanishad, because he's just saying it in the words that Arjun will understand.
Yes.
True. Very nice. Yes. Any other comment or question? Okay. I'll close then. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashchit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Okay, everybody, Hari Om. We'll see you next time on Zoom in 1 week. Have a great week.